Hello and welcome to another edition of our journey. Happy Thursday. What are we talking about today, Caitlin?
Ooh, let's talk about giving up control. It's been interesting. We have new employees, we got some contractors doing some work, which is so awesome to be able to make sure that, especially during these times, that other people are working, which is really cool, right? But giving up control is kind of hard, hey?
Yes, it has been a very, I'd say, good learning for us in both how we communicate. I mean, we've worked together for so long that it feels like we can just read each other's minds and everything happens very fast, right?
Yeah.
But when we're communicating to other people, we have to take that time and, whether it's a sketch or draw it out or ask more questions and spend the time, right?
Yeah, it's like it's an investment.
Totally. Yeah. And, even though it feels like it's taking more time, not all the time, but sometimes that's exactly it. We're expanding the skill set, the depth and breadth of our business, right?
Yeah. It's difficult. And then like you think you communicate something and then when it comes back, you're like, that's my fault.
Totally, right? I can see now.
I did not communicate what I wanted.
I need to use the words, right? Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And I find, one of the challenging thing is as a startup with just the two of us, just us working, there's a certain amount of profit that goes along with it that comes into the business, right? But as we farm more and more and more out, that margin shrinks, right?
Yeah, but in order for us to keep it going, we need to still we need to wear these hats, right? Mm-hmm. Like the BD hat and everything. Hi.
Say hello. That's right. So we spend more time meeting people and establishing relationships, and other people are more executing the work, right? So we have to be very careful about that balance and all that. So it's kind of a new dimension to how we have to think about this now that we didn't have to do before, right?
Right. I kind of I picture it as we grow, the profit margin is going to go up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. But as long as it increases, it should be good. That's right. Like as we have you grow your resource, it's kind of like this catch up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think someone said to me once, it might even before we started, but do you want to be the $100 million company that makes $10 million in profit, or do you want to be the $10 million company that makes $10 million in profit? Right. Very, very different things. So
interesting.
Yeah. That's kind of that's an interesting way to look at it, right? What do you think?
So what was your answer?
Well, I was like, well, obviously the second one, but now I have a different point of view. Now we're employing other people. Now we're able to help more people. So, I guess at the end of the day, it's a balance, right? Always is.
It is. It's an exciting, nerve-wracking balance. We're stepping outside of our comfort zone, right? And we're doing, engaging more people. And it's a lot of fun because we're getting perspectives we never would have got.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah, and some really cool ideas have come through already, right?
Yeah.
And I always think, top of my mind, I read it in a book by Hasselblock about Google. And he said, as a leader or manager, if you're not feeling slightly uncomfortable and terrified, you have not delegated enough. You've not put enough trust in your people. And I always try and hold that here, right? We'll do this, this, and this. And okay, I'm comfortable doing that. And we're and that too, right? And I think you just got to get used to that, right? But
I mean, that's fair. Yeah. So, and that's the hard thing too, because there's things where you're like, oh, if I just took it and did it, it'd be done.
Totally.
Right. fair enough. But if you don't teach somebody the thought process behind it and walk them through doing it, you're always going to have to hold on to that task.
Yeah, you're going to lose, right?
At the end, yeah.
Yeah.
The whole company loses. You lose, the company loses, because you didn't invest that in somebody else. You don't have the redundancy, you don't have somebody you can lean on, and you don't have the value of having somebody else's perspective come in. So like, but it's a harder walk to walk through.
Totally. It definitely sure feels like it, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a big transition, and I feel very grateful that I'm thinking about this stuff now earlier in the game, right? So that it can become habitual as we grow. It's not like all of a sudden shock, So.
Well, I think you maximize your people that way too. If you trust them, you allow them, you teach them, you maximize. You're not just saying, okay, you take this and that's all kind of, you're comfortable. It's that trust and that ability to be, if you empower your people to be dynamic and to be more than one thing, then they will give you more than one thing to your company. And that is so much more, right? You're really tapping into the potential.
Yeah, I love that. And, when we did that eulogy exercise, that was a big part of how I imagined, like, I wanted people to remember me, right? As someone who took that risk, and gave you that chance and all that. So, yeah, big ideas.
Speaking of big ideas, I see you have pumpkins in the background there. Are you going to do some carving?
Yes, tonight is the carving night. We waited till yesterday to get them, and my wife had to go to 3 different stores to find them, right?
Believe it.
Find the pumpkins.
So first we went to buy chocolate chips because my sister is having like something at school and she has to bring chocolate chips, so that's why we got different kinds of chocolate chips. And we got.
And how many pumpkins did we get?
First at the first grocery store we got 1, and then we went to another store and Mommy got 3 more.
Okay, so we got lucky. We waited a little bit too long to get our pumpkins.
Well, I got mine too early and I think they're mushy.
Oh, they're all rotten. Oh no.
Because they're outside and frozen. I should have probably maybe brought them inside.
Actually, on Facebook, I saw a life hack about a pumpkin. It said, like, cut out the bottom of the pumpkin.
Yeah.
That way you can just lift it up and put it on the candle. And that way you don't have to put the candle in the rotten bottom. But then at the same time, I was like, I'm not going to do that. I've done pumpkins the same way forever. This is far too rooted of a tradition to change at this point.
Don't tell me my pumpkin business.
Exactly. I know I cut the top off, and that's just how it's going to be.
So Tiki, what are you going to carve?
So as you can see, this one is my pumpkin.
Oh,
Okay, you pictures. Good.
Yeah, and she drew a picture. It's a scary face, isn't it?
Yeah, it has triangle eyes and triangle lip
Oh, that's awesome.
and a pointy mouth, but I'm still figuring out what I should do for the nose.
Okay.
You're gonna figure it out, right? Okay. Well, happy Halloween.
Yeah, happy Halloween.
Bye.
Have a great Halloween.
You too.